Good. Great. So any questions from our last sessions? So the topics which we are going to cover today are file handling. Basically, we will be discussing about file reading and writing. Then we will have a look at regular expressions, and then we will have a look at exception handling. And if time permits, we will talk about the concept of object-oriented programming in Python. So this is our concepts which we are going to learn for today. So the input output operations or the IO operations basically say that input basically means read from file or keyboard, and output basically means write to console or file. So this is print statement. Now for the input output operation, basically in Python you have got some modes available to us using which you can open a file. So you can open a file in a read mode, a write mode, or a append mode. When you basically open a file, what you create is something known as a file handle. Using that file handle, you can read the contents of the file or you can write to the file. The difference between write mode and append mode is that write mode will always overwrite any existing data and create a new file with contents. Whereas append will add to the existing file. Okay, so append adds to the existing file. Now here we are going to see the three different modes using which we are going to write to the file, then append to the file, then read the same file. So we create this file handle which we say open. We provide the path where our file is and the mode in which we want the file to be opened. Then we use the command fw.write to print the contents of this to the file handle. Then we introduce a new line and we close the file handle. Closing the file handle is important so that we do not have any loose handles, any unclosed handles, so that our data is not lost. Then we are trying to append to the same file. So we open the same file, but this time we open it in the append mode. Here we write the contents and then we close it. Then we write a program to read the file. So we again use the open command to open the file at the same location but in read mode. And then we use the for loop for line in file handle, print line, then close the file. So when you run this program, the contents of the file will get printed and in your D drive you will have this file available. Okay? Have a look at this program. It is very simple. Let me know if you guys have any question. There is no advantage of write over append. It depends. Whichever both the modes are available, whichever you want to use, you can use. If we use append mode, previous data will not be deleted, it will be added. If you use the write mode, the previous data will be removed. In append mode, it will add to the existing file. /n is for new line. Append will add to the file, write mode will overwrite the file. It will always append at the end, Puneet. You cannot insert at a specific position in a file, it always appends to the end. No, that's okay. Questions are always good. Any other questions? Okay, so here is a practice assignment which you guys have to do now. Create a file with the following data set. Format. Or let me give a difficult one. So you have to create a file which has got the data set available in the following format. Read the file and find out the names, the employee ID and name of the employee which are male. It's a little tricky and a bit lengthy program, and it will basically test your concept of files and mainly strings. So you have to create a file with following dataset format, example E001 colon name, gender, designation and gender. You have to find and print the employee ID and name of the employees which are male. Is the question clear to all of you? So this is the file code you will require primarily for reading, because the file can be created beforehand. You don't have to create the code for writing the file. Just create the code where the file already exists and you are reading it, and then you are extracting this information. Please attempt it. Making it a little bit simple, use this format. Let every variable be separated by a comma. Okay, use this format. You can use this data set. Let every variable, every data point be separated by comma, just simplifying it a bit. Anyone solved this? Okay. While the time you guys are solving, you may face a problem with the comparison. A small hint: as you introduce or you write a line of data, the last character of the line, okay, is concatenated with this. Since your gender is the last set of words, you have to basically write down a code to remove this new line character. For that, you can use the function str, that is the data point rstrip. This will remove the new line character which is available from the right hand side. So strip the new line character. Okay, you can use this. Some of you, rather almost all of you, will be facing this problem as you are trying to compare, because the last character after this there is a new line which is concatenated, which we do not see, but Python sees. So you have to use this. Anyone done? Do you all remember using the split command? Remember the split command we learned yesterday? I hope you all have used that to extract the data points and create a list for each line. And then you have to simply do a comparison. So you know how to read a file. You are reading the file line by line. When you have fetched a line, you should split that line by a comma, because so that the data points are separated. Then if in that line you find the word male, you have to print the employee ID and the name of the person. I hope you all have taken this approach. Another 5 minutes. Okay guys, here is the solution. Have a look at it. And then let me know where you guys were actually struggling. Every one of you can make your own assessment and tell me where you guys were struggling. You open the file, you start reading the file line by line, then you split and create a list. Okay, if the list third index means fourth entry, remove the new line character from here. If the fourth entry is equivalent to male, print the employee ID and employee name and then close. It's a simple code, around 7-8 lines. This is your answer. Tell me where you guys were struggling. And honestly, tell me, did you guys write down the pseudocode? Renuka, Karthik, Monica, Puneet. Okay. See, writing pseudocode is very important. It is crucial. It is a step not to be skipped. If you actually want to become good programmers, you should always write the pseudocode. And you should write detailed pseudocode in such a manner that every line of your program should have a pseudocode available. The if is simple. Monica, do you see, Puneet, 1 second. Monica, do you see where your logic got mistaken? Like this is how you should complete. Karthik, is the comparison clear to you? Okay, Renuka, what's your status? Clear? Okay. Was it a difficult program? Yes, okay. Uh, Puneet, I'm sorry, I do not understand your logic. Why is some appendix happening in here? What are you trying to append? You are reading a file. What are you trying to, in line number 5, string 1 dot append. What are you trying to append? You are trying to read the file and create one big string with all the lines appended. That's what you are doing, right? Why would you do that? You don't have to. Yeah, I can see that. No, you are complicating the logic too much. Also, I don't see the pseudocode. Did you write down the pseudocode? You also did not, I think so. See, open the file, read the file line by line. For each line, create a list. If the list fourth entry, removing the new line character, is a male, print that list zeroth entry and the first entry. That was the simple question. Let me know if you all understand this answer. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a simple question. Try doing this. But before attempting this, like I told you guys, please write down the pseudocode logic, okay? For the given file content, read the file and perform the following action. So I am going to create a file. The file has got name, comma, count. Two variables only, name, comma, count. Print the name as many times as there is a count. For example, you have to read the file line by line. For example, it is Roma 3. What should be the output? Okay, simple question. Read the contents of the file and you have to perform the following action. Now, before you attempt down this problem, write down the pseudocode. Then for each pseudocode statement written, think about what Python concept you have learned can be useful in here and then implement it. This is the way you should always approach, okay? I want all of you to attempt this. You have got 10 minutes. I'm going to see the answer for this question on your screens. Okay, please all of you attempt it. It's not difficult. Write down the pseudocode and then try to solve this problem. Think about which Python concept will be implemented for the pseudocode you have written. Okay, solve this please. Have you all written the pseudocode? So I'm going to make one by one presenters to see how you guys are faring, okay? Please accept the request. Accept the request, please. Okay, fine. So you have started reading the file and you have split the content. Great. Now what should be your next step? So your list 1 0 is the name, list 1 1 is the number. So I hope you remember this string function, that if you multiply a string by a number, your output would be the same string concatenated that many times with which the number you have multiplied. So you have to use this logic. So things should become simple for you now. I hope you all remember that you can use the multiplication operator and multiply your string with the count. Good. So you are done solving it. Good. You have used correctly the rstrip function as well. And that is excellent that you have converted everything to an integer. Very good, Puneet. Karthik, you must be working on other system. Okay, no problem. Are you able to get the solution? No, you have to just start reading the file line by line. Yeah, this is fine. The logic is correct. Why are you writing the file again? You don't have to write it. You have to read the file. Once the file is read, when you are reading the file line by line, each line has to be split using a comma. So when you split it, this is how your program should look like. See my screen. Open the file. For each line in the file, create a list by splitting the line on a comma. Then get the variable count. Count is integer of the list second entry, which has to be stripped from the new line character. Convert that into an int. Then print list first entry multiplied by count. This is the answer to the question. Have a look at this code, and if you have any questions, let me know. Try to become familiar with the split function, the list functions, the string functions. It's okay, you guys have learned it yesterday. Maybe you did not get time to practice, but the more you practice, the better it will become. And if you are able to identify what is causing you guys confusion for using this split function, the strip function, the list, working with indexes, then let me know so that I can help you. You guys want to take a break now, or shall we take a break after learning another topic? Do you guys want to take a break now? Or can we do another topic? Let's do another topic. It is not lengthy. It is a small topic, and after that we will take a break. So the next concept which we are going to understand is the concept about exception handling. Exceptions are, okay, before we talk about exception, let's talk about error. We all have written down the programs now, right? What are the different types of error you can encounter? Syntax errors, runtime errors, logical errors. Syntax errors are those errors which are caused when you have given a bad syntax in your program. Okay, so while your program is executing, it will not be able to run or get compiled. For example, here in this program, if I do not use this indentation properly, or I forgot to write the semicolon, then my program will not compile. It will show me an error telling me that this is expected. So that's a syntax error. I have written a bad syntax. Runtime errors are those errors which are caused at the time of execution. Let us say your program is fine, it has also executed, but maybe you are trying to access a file which is not available, or maybe you were working with databases and somebody shut down the server. So at the time of execution, the time where your code is running, you get an error. Okay? That's a runtime error. Logical errors are those errors which is caused because of bad logic or algorithm used in the program, because of which you will not be able to get the result you are looking for. Okay, so that is your logical error. So these are the different types of error which you can encounter while working with your programs. In this, generally runtime errors fall under the category of exceptions, which are caused because of the circumstances or the environmental condition. Okay, so exceptions are those situations which causes a program to end abruptly. Let me give you a small example where exception handling and why is it necessary. Let us say you have a test case, you have a test suite of 10,000 test cases to be executed. From these 10,000 test cases, 10 test cases were those which require a file for working. But at the time of execution, you forgot to copy the file at the location where the program would be looking for it. What would happen? Let us say after 100 test cases, these 10 programs came. The minute it will start looking for the file, it will not find the file, and there is no way you have handled that thing in your program. Exception will be raised but not handled. So the entire test suite execution will halt. And when you come next year morning, you will find that only 100 test cases got executed. After the 100 test case, since you required that file and the file was not there, none of the test cases got executed. Versus a situation where you have forgotten the file but you were smart enough to write down the code for exception handling. In that case, after the 100 test case, the 10 test cases will be skipped or would be handled, and then the remaining test cases will get executed. So when you come in the morning, these many test cases were executed. Which scenario do you like the most, this one or this one? Second one, obviously. Okay, because you have not wasted your time, you were smart enough and logical enough to handle the file missing scenario in your code, because of which an exception could come, and thus you were able to overcome this exception situation. How do you handle exceptions? To handle exception, you basically have to use a try except block of code. So whatever is prone to exception is written inside a try block. Statements which are prone to exception, except if exception comes, what you want to do, else okay, this is the code which we write. So let us see a small example. Here we are trying to open a file and write some information on it. In case the file is not available, we are handling the exception, can't read the file or read data. Okay. And in the else block, we are writing written content in the file successfully and closing the file handle. Let us run this program. Do you see the error being handled? So there is no file called test file available in my C drive. So it went into this exception block and the error was handled. Because of the reason the error was handled, this code got executed. Versus if I write down the code like this without the try catch block, let us say I have not used the try catch block and I am writing the file like this, then what would happen? This file is not available at this location, right? You will get error, permission denied, and this line never gets executed. Okay? If you have written the code without the try catch block, this line never gets executed because this will throw an exception. When it is trying to open the file, there is no such file at this location. Sorry, when it is trying to write down the file, there is no file available, so nothing can be done. Whereas this is correct. The above manner in which we have written the code using the try catch block, that is correct. If the exception does not come, then it will go into the else block. So let us say you have actually used a file which can be accessed or which can be written to. In that situation, the else block of code will get executed. See this. So when I'm trying to write down the same file in the D drive, I'm able to write the content of the file, the else code got executed and this got executed. But if I'm trying to write down or access a file which location is not accessible to us, in that situation exception comes and except block will get executed. If exception doesn't come, then else block gets executed. Is this clear? Clear to all of you? Puneet? The else block purpose is to execute the code if exception does not come. If the exception will come, this part of the code will get executed. If the exception will not come, this part of the code will get executed. You have to handle both scenarios. Okay, no problem. So exception handling, there are different type of exceptions which can be found in Python. So this is the documentation which you might want to have a look at, okay? Okay, so we are done with files and we are done with exception. Let's try writing down a small code. This will generate an exception. Let us see how will you handle it. Ask user for two numbers. Take the, sorry, ask user for a number and divide the number by 0. This will throw an exception. Handle it. So when you try to divide a number by 0, it is going to throw an exception. Write down a code which will handle this situation. Fine. Done solving it? Okay. So a small concept also. When you try to catch this exception, you can actually write exception as E. So the exception will be captured in the object E. Okay. And then I can simply say format E. This will print the message the exception object is carrying. So you can try this out. You can say accept exception as E, and then you can say print format E. This will print the exception message the object is carrying. Clear? Renuka, Karthik, Monica, Puneet. Okay. So let us take a short break of 6-7 minutes. And after the break, we will talk about the concept of regular expressions. Okay. So I'll see you guys in next 6-7 minutes. Thank you. Resuming the session, I hope you all are able to see the screen and hear me. Okay. So, let us have a look at the concept of regular expressions. Now, what I am going to teach you right now without the programming knowledge is something which is global to all the programming languages. The concept of regular expressions, okay? When the Python part will come, that is specific to Python, but this concept which we will be discussing is a global concept. So regular expression basically is a string which is created as a pattern to match a set of substrings from a main string. So regular expression is basically a pattern string which is created to perform some matches on the main string. Have you ever done or written you must have all used Word document, right? Or a notepad. Have you ever tried to find a word in the Word document and then use a replace command to replace that word or a part of the word? Yes, that is done with the help of regular expression. For example, if have you ever in the command prompt written a command like this, dir star dot star, or have you ever perform a search on your Windows, for example, search for star.txt, so search all text files. If you have done such a thing, this is also a regular expression pattern. So to create a regular expression pattern, you have available with you a set of characters known as meta characters, which when used in context to regular expression hold a special meaning. So we will see some of them. Dot represents any character. Star represents zero or more occurrence of previous expression. Question mark represents 1, 0 or 1 occurrence of previous expression. Plus represents 1 or more occurrence of previous expression. A to Z basically means any alphabet. 0 to 9 basically means any digit. Means m times. Means minimum m times, maximum n times. This is start of an expression. This is end of an expression. So let us understand some of the regular expressions using these meta characters. Okay, I am pasting them in here in the chat window for you to keep handy while we create some regular expression patterns. So the first set of strings which I am sharing in here is and so on. Help me understand what is that you note. Let us have some observations in place. Tell me your observations. What is that you note which is common in these strings? It starts with C, ends with T, and there is either 0 or more occurrence of the alphabet A. Is that right? So how do we say start with C? One or zero or more occurrence of alphabet A ends with T. Is this correct? This regular expression? So starts with C, followed by zero or more occurrence of alphabet A, ends with T. Is this correct? Let us try another set of strings. No, star comes after A. Zero or more occurrence of previous expression. The previous expression here is A, so zero or more occurrence of A. Let us see, there are some of these strings here. What is that you observe? Four alphabets, ends with OLD. Start is any alphabet. Correct? So how will you say? Start A to Z followed by OLD dollar. Dot OLD dollar is not correct because dot could be any character. The character could be a special character, could be a digit, could be a number. So that is why we specifies A to Z. Okay, Monica? Otherwise it would have been correct. But good attempt. Now let us try. There are some license numbers available. What is that you observe? What's your observation? Three alphabets, three digits. So first starts with three alphabets, ends with three digits. So how will we create? Start with A to Z, how many times? Three times. Followed by 0 to 9, how many times? Three times again. Okay, is this clear? This regular expression? Okay, let us try another, which you guys have to try. Create a regex which will match any 10-digit mobile number which starts with 65. So the mobile number will start with 65. You have to create a regular expression which will match any 10-digit mobile number which starts with 65. This is the question. Attempt it and give me the answer. You can refer to the table. Very good, Karthik. Good answer. Correct answer. Correct answer, Monica. Correct, Puneet. You guys are smart. Good. So, like almost all of you have solved it. It has to start with 6, 5, followed by 0 to 9, which can come 8 times, and then end. Okay. Now let us have a look at some more meta characters. Slash D basically means digit. Slash capital D means non-digit. Slash W means word. Slash capital W means non-word. Slash S means space. Capital S means non-space. So for the above question, you could have also created a regular expression like this. Yes? Okay. So thus you can create different types of regular expressions using these. So this is the link you guys can read. Now let us have a look at how we can implement regular expression using a Python program. So there is a module which you have to import in your program that is known as import RE. Import is for importing, RE is the name of the module. The program basically tries to find out whether the given input by the end user is an SSN number or a PAN card or junk. So we create the input by saying enter a PAN card or SSN. Then how do we write down a program? We say re.search. Search is what is going to search for a expression in the main string. This is how we create our regular expression pattern. Our regular expression pattern started A to Z followed by 5 times. This is for PAN card. Followed by digit 4 times, then A to Z 1 time. Search where in the line, make it multi-line and ignore case. Or search for SSN number, 3 digits followed by a dash, 2 digits followed by a dash, 4 digits end. Search where on the line, do a multi-line search and ignore case. Else the value which is printed is junk. Let us say I enter anything. I'll get a junk value. Now let us say I enter the PAN card. Then I get a PAN card entry. Let us say I enter a SSN number. Then this will get matched. Have a look at this program. Using this, we will do some practice assignment. Let me know if you guys have any question in this. REM is a flag for multi-line expression match. Do not match one time but multiple times. REI is ignore case. No, that is something you can ignore. I mean, are you not able to execute the program? This you can ignore. We are not concatenating REM and REI. We are giving the flag options. So these are flag options. REI basically means ignore the case. REM means do not just search in one attempt, as in do not just return the first match. Continue the search. If there is more than one match found, return that. These are the flags. So let me give you guys a practice, not a practice question, but an assignment. Create a file of phone numbers, mobile numbers with country code. Print the count of all Indian mobile numbers. For example, you can have mobile numbers like this. So you have to also find out whether the mobile number you are trying to see is a valid mobile number or not. So similarly, the data is given, have multiple entries. Find out which number is the Indian mobile number and find out the count of all the Indian mobile numbers in that file. That is your first question. I'll have a look at it in a short while, Monica. Let us see another implementation of regular expression. This is done to show you guys a substitute operation. Here you have imported the RE module. Then let us say this is a string available to you with something written as a phone number followed by a space and a hash and the text this is a phone number. From this you have to extract only the phone number. How will you do it? So the first thing we do is we use the substitute operation available with the regular expression module and we say substitute the regular expression pattern which is created as hash dot star. So from hash dot star, that means any set of character, match this pattern, substitute this pattern with nothing and search it in the phone string. Then whatever is left is returned to us. So the number is left. So ideally this would be returned to us. Then what you have to do is, from this number, return substitute anything which is a non-digit with nothing. So whatever is a non-digit and the space will be substituted with nothing, and what would be remaining is only the number. First we have substituted this expression by nothing. Then we have substituted whatever is a non-digit with nothing. So what you got is just a number. Clear? Is this clear? Making you the presenter, Monica. Show me what error you are getting. No, this, you are still able to run the program. You ignore this error. This is to be ignored right now. So only one assignment problem for today. That should be good. Okay, anyone has any question in any of the concepts we have learned today? So we have done with file handling, exception handling and regular expressions. Any questions? Okay. Okay, so before we end the session, just going to give you guys a heads up for the upcoming time which will look like. So what we will be doing is, tomorrow we are going to talk about object oriented programming in Python. With that our Python ends, okay? This is the most important concept in the course, because based upon this concept the entire Selenium is based, or the test automation concepts which we are going to learn on Selenium is based upon. So we are going to discuss object oriented programming tomorrow. After that, the next week we will have two classes on Selenium IDE and the concept of locators, and we will see our live web application on which we will be giving you some assignment problems and things to be done. And then we will take a logical break of 3 days, okay? After that we will meet the next week, where we will be discussing about the basics of automation, synchronization concept, parameterization concept. We'll be talking about the concept of then how to handle different form elements. Here we are also going to discuss web technologies. and advanced HTML elements. And then we will start in our last week the advanced concepts in automation, where we are going to talk about the concept of page object model, the concept of Selenium grid, framework, and behave, which is the BDD for Python. And then you guys will be given a demo project with some problems to be solved. Please understand that I am actually evaluating you guys on your assignments, your participation in the class, and we will be evaluating you on this project. If the results are found satisfactory, once you submit all of this, the certification would be released to you. Okay? Without the proper submission of your assignments and the demo project and active participation in class, we hold back the certification because we want to be sure that you guys are have really learned the work well. So please take all these things seriously. This logical break is required because you have to be well versed with Python and you have to understand this concept of web technologies and locators very well and be comfortable with the live application before we start on with the rest of the concepts. Okay? So just to note down, we will not be having classes on 13th, 14th and 15th, and then we will resume until 28th you will be having classes. Okay? So the last 2 days we will be given you for your project work. You can utilize your weekend and submit it. At the most you have to let me know by mail if you need more time to submit your project work or your assignments. Okay? So make it a time bound activity, please. Is that okay with all of you? So at least 75% of the assignment you guys should solve. If you want to know 75% of your assignment problems, participation in class, you all are doing very well, and your project. So your project site would be different from the live web application we are looking at in the course. Okay? It would be a different project. Okay, then thank you so much for your time today. I hope you all had a good class. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Take care and bye.